Come on up. Yeah, stand up and tell us who you are, please.
Judy Masuda.
Yes.
I've been working on EV infrastructure since phase one back in the 90s. And this is very exciting. But in working with cities, governments, private industry, homeowner associations, where is the funding going to come from to develop this new technology and this new way of thinking?
That's a good question. So did you all hear the question is, where's the funding coming from? Let me take you back to history a little bit. Let me stand up. What enabled the actual growth of the then early stage car industry from about 7% of the market to 80% of the market back in the early 1900s was a joint venture between a little company called DuPont and another little company called GM. And between the two of them, they created a company called GMAC. Have you heard of it? They invented a concept, a new business model. So Mike talked about business model innovation called car loans. And car loans were the key enabler of the gasoline car economy. At the time, the cost of a car was 1 year average wage in America. And so by extending that to 4 or 5 years, they basically opened the marketplace. Now, 100 years later, what has enabled the solar industry in California and in the US is something called third-party finance, solar as a service. So you have companies like SolarCity, Sunrun, Sungevity, Vivint, and other companies that essentially pay for it. They borrow from Wall Street, they install the panels on your rooftop, $0 down, zero, and essentially it's like a cell phone. You buy a contract for a few years, promising to buy the electricity from the sun, and done. So basically others, the market, Wall Street, has woken up to the power, hard, unintended, of solar, of a market that's growing by 43%. There are a lot of companies that are doing that. So you don't need to spend a single dollar to go solar today. Just go to one of these third-party finance companies.
Your next question's over here.
Hi, Wally Simbab, South Bay City's Council of Government. The state of California is starting to put a lot of money into building hydrogen fuel cell infrastructure. Would you comment on how you see that playing out versus the electric?
Yeah, so I don't think that hydrogen is going to do it. I mean, I've looked at hydrogen, I've done all the numbers, and hydrogen is essentially a mirror industry of gasoline and oil. So imagine that you need to produce the hydrogen. I mean, hydrogen is not like the sunshine, right? I mean, there's a lot of hydrogen, but you actually need to get it, and 95% of the hydrogen today comes from fossil fuels, natural gas. So most of the hydrogen that they're driving around is actually not clean, it's natural gas. Now, you need to extract the hydrogen from natural gas or from water, so you can do hydrolysis, right? But that is not done on your rooftop, that's done somewhere out there. So let's call it a refinery. So you refine it, you need to build pipelines, and you need to build trucks, and you need to build gas stations, hydrogen gas stations, right? And so essentially what you have is an industry that's mirroring the oil and gas industry. That is not a disruptive innovation, even if it were clean, even if the hydrolysis were done by the sun. What you end up is, and I can show you all the numbers, is that from sunshine to usage of energy by the car, the EV is 3 to 4 times more energy efficient than the hydrogen car is. By the way, hydrogen fuel cell cars are electric, right? So basically, they're electric, but if you compare the battery back through the food chain with the fuel cell back through the food chain, you get that the EV is 3 to 4 times more energy efficient. Yeah, and hydrogen is not disruptive. Yeah.
Okay, let's
Yes.
have our last question.
Just as a follow-up to that statement
Yes.
on hydrogen. Hydrogen production, the source of hydrogen aside, because there may be developments that make it clean production.
Yeah.
How do you remedy the charge times versus the fill-up times? Hydrogen is relative to gasoline.
Right.
Charging is longer at this point. I mean, of course, this may be negated when we're into a ride-sharing world, but for the meantime, how do you remedy the difference?
I can let Mike answer that. You know, a Tesla today, Model S, you can charge in 30 minutes. 30 minutes, you can charge to go to 100 miles. Cars have already gone from coast to coast, from, you know, the Carolinas to San Francisco, purely Model S cars, purely charging on Tesla charging stations. It takes a half an hour, that's it, and that's improving.
It's 20 minutes, my
Oh,
last is in 20.
sorry, 20 minutes. 20 minutes. We have a Tesla owner here. Thank you. Thank you for that.
I'll
So,
share,
hmm?
in that same spirit, the disruption comes from, you don't go anywhere, you charge everywhere that the car is parked. So what you're seeing is a complete disruption of the existing chain. You don't have to go to a place. You actually bring energy to your vehicle. So as the battery technologies and solar happens, you charge everywhere. That's our EV-able period. We'll see that between 2017 and 2020. We may go into extra innings from 2020 to 2025. There'll be no need to stop for a special fill-up.
You fill up everywhere, and that's the answer. That's one of the answers. But today you can fill up for 20 minutes, and I think that's, you know, that's enough for a bio break and maybe a soda or something. So I'll be around for the rest of the day if anyone wants to come up and talk to me. But now it's time for the next.
The next panel. Tony Zebo, thank you very much. And a special thanks to Mike Lees and Schneider Electric for making this possible today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you take a look at your agenda, our next